Good morning and welcome back to our channel on this beautiful sun-drenched Tuesday where the drama never sleeps and neither do we because the Los Angeles fashion world is about to be turned completely upside down by a bombshell nobody saw coming. We are diving straight into the absolute chaos unfolding behind the closed doors of the Spencer estate today because things have just escalated from a corporate war to a deeply personal, life altering crisis that is going to shatter everything. You just have to picture the scene at the Spencer mansion right now because the air is so thick with tension. You could cut it with a knife, and Hope Logan is practically crumbling under the weight of it all. She has been suffering from these severe dizzy spells ever since that massive confrontation with her mother, where Brooke literally ran off and left Hope standing there, reeling from the emotional devastation. Liam has been watching his wife like a hawk because he is naturally terrified that the stress of the House of Logan debut and the eviction from Brooke's property is literally tearing Hope apart from the inside out. He finally put his foot down and forced her to go to the doctor because Liam Spencer is nothing if not fiercely protective when he thinks his family is in danger. Hope fought him on it, of course, because she is stubborn and she kept insisting that she was just stressed and overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of launching a new fashion line while her entire family is fractured. And you can just imagine the suffocating silence in that sterile doctor's office with the harsh fluorescent lights buzzing overhead while Liam paces the floor wearing a hole in the carpet. Hope is sitting on the edge of the examination table, shivering in one of those flimsy paper gowns, feeling like her entire life is completely out of her control. She gave up everything to join Katie and Bill at Logan, and she betrayed Forrester Creations, and she alienated her own mother just to find her creative freedom. But her body is completely betraying her right now, and she feels this deep, agonizing dread pooling in her stomach as the doctor runs the ultrasound wand over her skin. The gel is freezing cold, and the monitor is turned away from her for what feels like an absolute eternity, while the doctor squints at the screen and Liam stops pacing to hold his breath. Then the words drop into the room like a literal nuclear bomb, and everything just stops. Twins. The doctor says she is pregnant with twins, and the entire universe just tilts on its axis and crashes down around Hope's ears. Two babies. Two tiny heartbeats echoing through the speakers in that little room and filling the silence with this deafening reality that changes absolutely everything forever. Liam completely breaks down in tears of absolute joy because this is everything he has ever wanted. And he is already picturing this massive, loud, happy family running around the Spencer estate. He is holding Hope's hand and kissing her forehead and babbling about how Beth is going to be a big sister to two babies at once and how amazing this is and how blessed they are. But Hope is just staring at the ceiling with tears streaming down her face. And they are not tears of joy because she is absolutely paralyzed by fear. She is shaking so hard. The paper gown is rustling because she knows exactly what this means for the war that is raging outside the walls of this clinic. This is not just a pregnancy. This is a weapon of mass destruction in the middle of the most vicious corporate and family feud Los Angeles has seen in decades. Hope knows that this news is going to be a nuclear bomb dropping squarely on the House of Logan and Forrester Creations, and she has absolutely no idea how she is going to survive the fallout. I mean, you have to think about Brooke Logan and what she is going to do when she finds out her daughter is pregnant with Spencer twins right after being evicted and disowned. Brooke is already completely unhinged and vindictive, and she has been actively seeking revenge against Katie for stealing Hope away from Forrester. Brooke smashed a company sign and she physically pushed her own sister, and she has been screaming about how Hope is making the biggest mistake of her life. When Brooke hears that Hope is pregnant with twins, she is going to lose whatever tiny shred of sanity she has left, and she will probably accuse Liam of trapping her daughter or blame the stress of Katie's company for putting the babies at risk. Brooke is going to use this pregnancy as the ultimate excuse to drag Hope back to the Forrester fold, and she will stop at nothing to get her way because Brooke always thinks She knows what is best for her daughter. And then there is Steffi Forrester Finnegan sitting in that massive CEO office at Forrester Creations, feeling incredibly vindicated and furious all at the same time. Steffi already officially labeled Hope a traitor, and she has been venting to Finn every single night about how Hope blindsided her after she kept her word about the production window. Steffi is going to look at this twin pregnancy as the ultimate cosmic joke because Hope demanded all this creative freedom and abandoned her family company only to be completely sidelined by a massive high-risk pregnancy. Steffi is going to sneer and she is going to judge, and she might even use this as ammunition to publicly humiliate the House of Logan because the fashion industry is ruthless and Steffi is sharpening her knives. Hope is terrified of Steffi's contempt because she knows Steffi will look down on her and say that Hope can never handle the pressure of running a fashion line while carrying twins. Because the business implications of this are just absolutely catastrophic for the House of Logan, and Hope knows it better than anyone else. Bill Spencer just bankrolled this massive operation, and Wyatt delivered the $100 million Hope for the Future diamond, and Katie put her entire reputation on the line to launch this brand. They are banking everything on Hope being the face and the creative engine of this new company alongside Deke Sharp and his designs. But you cannot launch a global fashion empire when your lead brand creator is fainting from dizzy spells and facing 8 months of extreme exhaustion and morning sickness and medical monitoring. Katie is going to panic when she realizes her star player is going to need a massive maternity leave before the company even gets off the ground, and all their business plans are going to be turned completely upside down. Bill Spencer is going to look at this from a completely different angle because Bill only sees dollar signs and legacy and power. Bill will probably want to exploit the twin pregnancy for absolute maximum public relations exposure, and he will want to plaster pregnant Hope all over the media to sell a maternity line or something equally invasive. Hope is going to hate that because she is already feeling like a pawn in this massive chess game between Bill and Ridge, and she just wants to protect her babies from the toxicity of this family war. But Bill is going to see 2 new Spencer heirs, and he will use them to rub Ridge's nose in the dirt and prove that the Spencers are multiplying and taking over the world. And what about Ridge Forrester and Carter Walton, who are already scrambling to formulate a massive legal counteroffer to break Hope's ironclad Spencer contract? Ridge is desperate to save Forrester's collections, and he is benching Elektra's jewelry line just to deal with the Logan fallout. When Carter finds out Hope is pregnant with twins, he might look for a medical loophole to void the contract or force Hope into a breach of contract situation if she cannot fulfill her duties. The legal battles are going to be absolutely brutal, and Hope is going to be caught right in the crossfire while her body is working overtime to grow 2 human beings. Liam is just completely oblivious to all of this corporate terror right now because he is living in this beautiful, optimistic bubble where love conquers all and babies are a blessing. He is holding Hope in his arms and telling her that everything is going to be okay and that he will take care of her and that they don't need to worry about Forrester or Logan or any of it. But Liam doesn't understand the psychological weight that Hope is carrying because she is a Logan and she is a Forrester by association, and her entire identity is tied up in her career and her family's approval. Liam wants to wrap her in bubble wrap and keep her safe at the Spencer mansion, but Hope is going to feel like a prisoner in that house because she is surrounded by Bill's manipulative energy and Katie's desperate ambition. Hope is just lying there on that examination table, feeling the walls closing in on her, and the panic is rising in her chest like a tidal wave. She remembers the look of absolute disgust on Steffi's face when the truth came out, and she remembers the sound of Brooke's voice cracking with betrayal, and she just wants to disappear. How is she supposed to stand in front of the fashion press and sell a new collection when she can barely stand up without the room spinning out of control? She is already so exhausted, and the pregnancy is only just beginning, and she knows that twins mean double the risk and double the physical toll on her body. You really have to wonder if Hope is going to resent Liam just a little bit for being so blindly happy when her entire professional life is on the verge of total collapse. Liam gets to be the proud father, passing out cigars and dreaming of a big family, while Hope has to face the boardroom and the media and the wrath of the women who used to support her. Hope is the one who has to look Katie in the eye and tell her that the massive investment they just made might be in jeopardy because she can't work the 80-hour weeks required to launch a fashion house. Hope is the one who has to face Brooke and endure the inevitable lecture about how she ruined her life and made a mistake by trusting the Spencers. And the timing of this is just so unbelievably messy because the entire family is already fractured in a million different directions. Eric is furious with Donna for keeping secrets, and Ridge is pushing Elektra to make a decision about Will, and RJ is playing Superman, and the whole dynamic is just a powder keg waiting to explode. Adding a twin pregnancy to this mix is like throwing a lit match into a fireworks factory because everyone is going to have an opinion and everyone is going to use this news to advance their own agenda. The Forresters will say it proves Hope is unstable, and the Spencers will say it proves they are the future, and Hope will just be a pawn in the middle of it all. Hope is already obsessing over the details of how the news will leak because in Los Angeles, secrets never stay buried for long. Will a nurse tip off a tabloid, or will Bill Spencer accidentally let it slip to a reporter, or will Steffi somehow find out and use it to humiliate Hope at a press conference? Hope is terrified of losing control of her own narrative because she worked so hard to step out of the shadows and be her own woman, and now her biology is dictating her future. She is going to have to hide the pregnancy for as long as possible, but with twins, she is going to show much faster, and the morning sickness is going to be impossible to conceal in a high pressure office environment. Just imagine the scenes at the Spencer mansion when they get back from the doctor and they have to sit Katie and Bill down and tell them the truth. Katie is going to try to be supportive because she loves Hope and she is family, but behind her eyes, she is going to be doing the math and realizing that her launch schedule is completely destroyed. Katie is going to have to pivot the entire marketing strategy, and she might even have to lean more on Deke Sharp to carry the brand, which could cause friction because this was supposed to be Hope's line. And Bill is going to be pacing the room with a glass of scotch, plotting how to use this to destroy Ridge and Brooke and completely ignoring the fact that Hope is terrified and exhausted. This is the ultimate tragedy for Hope because she finally found the courage to break away from Steffi's control and demand the respect she deserves. And now she feels like she is being punished for it. Steffi gets to sit on her high horse and play the victim of Hope's betrayal, while Hope has to navigate the terrifying reality of a high-risk twin pregnancy in the middle of a corporate war zone. Steffi is leaning on Finn and getting all this emotional support, while Hope feels completely isolated because Liam's joy is so overwhelming that she can't even express her own fears without feeling guilty. Hope is going to smile for Liam and pretend she is thrilled, but inside, she is going to be screaming because her entire world is falling apart. And we cannot forget that Hope is the daughter of Deacon Sharp and Brooke Logan, which means she has a legacy of scandal and drama running through her veins. She knows how vicious the media can be, and she knows how cruel her own family can be when they feel betrayed. Brooke is going to see this pregnancy as a Spencer plot to steal her daughter away forever, and she will probably try to legally intervene or do something completely unhinged to get Hope back under her roof. Brooke is not going to accept that Hope is building a life with Liam at the Spencer estate, and she will fight tooth and nail to break them apart, even if it means destroying her daughter's happiness in the process. The stress of this situation is exactly what caused the severe dizziness in the first place. And now the stress is going to be magnified by 1,000. Hope is going to be constantly worried about the health of the babies because she knows that extreme stress is dangerous for a twin pregnancy, and she is living in a literal pressure cooker. Liam is going to become overbearing and controlling because he wants to protect the babies, and he will probably demand that Hope quit her job at Logan or take a massive step back, which is exactly what Hope doesn't want. Hope is going to feel like she is losing her career and her independence all over again, and it will cause massive friction in their marriage. Because Liam has this habit of thinking he knows what is best for the women in his life, and he will absolutely try to dictate Hope's schedule and her stress levels. He will tell Katie to back off, and he will tell Bill to stop pushing, and he will try to build a fortress around Hope at the Spencer Mansion. But Hope is a career woman, and she is passionate about her designs, and she is not going to just sit in a bedroom and knit booties while the House of Logan fights Forrester Creations. She is going to push herself too hard, and she is going to risk her own health because she is desperate to prove to Steffi and Brooke that she is not a failure and that she did not make a mistake. The irony of the whole situation is just so thick you could choke on it, because Hope left Forrester to avoid being benched by Steffi, and now her own body is benching her. Steffi told Hope that her line was being put on hold to assess the collections, and Hope was so offended that she joined the rival company. But now Hope is going to have to put her own line on hold because she is carrying twins and she physically cannot do the work. Steffi is going to laugh in her face and say, "I told you so." And that is the one thing Hope fears more than anything else in the world. And you just know that Steffi is going to use this to justify every single horrible thing she has said about Hope being a traitor and being unstable. Steffi will tell Finn that Hope is a mess and that Forrester is better off without her, and she will use the twin pregnancy as proof that Hope is incapable of being a reliable business partner. Finn will try to be the voice of reason because Finn is always the calm, steady rock, but Steffi is so filled with vengeance and outrage right now that she won't listen to anyone. Steffi is out for blood, and she will see Hope's vulnerability as the perfect opportunity to strike a fatal blow to the House of Logan. It really makes you wonder how Deke Sharp is going to handle this, because Deke is the lead designer and he is relying on Hope to be the face of the brand. Deke rejected Remy Price to focus on his career, and he is riding high on the success of the debut, but now his business partner is pregnant with twins and facing a massive crisis. Deke might have to step out of the shadows and become the face of Logan himself, which could change the entire dynamic of the company and maybe even cause jealousy or resentment. The ripple effects of this pregnancy are going to touch every single character on this canvas, and nobody is going to be left unscathed. Hope is just sitting in the car on the way back to the Spencer mansion, staring out the window at the palm trees and feeling like she is trapped in a nightmare. Liam is driving, and he is talking a mile a minute about nursery colors and double strollers and baby names, and Hope is just nodding and forcing a smile while her heart is pounding out of her chest. She is calculating the weeks and the months and trying to figure out how long she can hide the bump and how many fashion shows she can get through before she has to confess the truth. She is living in a state of pure survival mode, and the sheer exhaustion of it all is already settling deep into her bones. This is the reality of being a Logan woman in Los Angeles, because your personal life is never just your personal life. It is always a corporate strategy and a family scandal. Hope wanted to break the cycle and be different, but now she is caught in the exact same trap that her mother and her aunts have been caught in for decades. She is carrying the next generation of Spencers, and she is the prize in a war between two massive dynasties, and she has absolutely no control over her own destiny. The twin pregnancy is a miracle to Liam, but to Hope, it is a ticking time bomb, and the clock is counting down to the moment it explodes and destroys everything she has worked so hard to build. You have to consider how this is going to impact the legal battle that Carter Bolton is preparing to wage on behalf of Ridge and Forrester Creations. Carter is a brilliant legal mind, and he is going to scrutinize every single clause of the contract Liam had Hope sign, and a twin pregnancy might trigger some obscure morality or performance clause that nobody even thought about. If Hope is medically required to go on bed rest and she cannot fulfill her duties as the brand creator, Carter will absolutely pounce on that weakness and try to drag the rights to her name back to Forrester. Hope knows that the legal wolves are circling, and she knows that her physical limitations are going to be used as a weapon against her in a court of law. And deep down in the darkest corners of her mind, Hope is terrified that Steffi is right about her being a traitor and that this pregnancy is some kind of karmic retribution for her betrayal. Hope kept her secret leave of absence hidden, and she blindsided Steffi, and she shattered her mother's heart. And now she is facing the most terrifying physical challenge of her life, completely alienated from the women who raised her She desperately needs her mother right now because Brooke is the only one who truly understands the physical and emotional toll of a high profile pregnancy. But Brooke is so blinded by her own rage and her hatred for Katie that she is completely unapproachable. Hope is grieving the loss of her mother's support at the exact moment she needs it the most. And that grief is compounding the dizziness and the nausea and the sheer terror of the twins. Liam is just so blissfully ignorant of this profound emotional agony because Liam operates on a completely different emotional frequency where love and family erase all corporate and practical problems. He genuinely believes that the arrival of these twins will magically heal the rift between the Spencers and the Forresters and the Logans because babies bring people together, but Hope knows that is a naive fantasy. In this world, babies are pawns and legacy pieces, and these twins are going to be fought over and weaponized by Bill and Brooke and Ridge before they are even born. Hope is already fiercely protective of these two tiny lives growing inside her, and she is terrified of the toxic environment they are going to be born into if this fashion war doesn't end. The entire landscape of The Bold and the Beautiful has just been irrevocably altered by this one doctor's appointment. And the shockwaves are going to tear through the Spencer Mansion and Forrester Creations like a massive earthquake. Hope Logan went into that clinic as a rebellious fashion creator ready to conquer the world. And she walked out as a terrified mother of twins trapped in the crossfire of a billionaire war. The stakes have never been higher and the emotions have never been more raw. And we are going to be watching every single second of this fallout because the explosion when Brooke and Steffi finally find out is going to be absolutely legendary